All right, this coming Shabbat is what we call Shabbat Mavorchim. It's the last Shabbat of this month of Tevet, the last Shabbat in this month, and it's called the Shabbat of blessing because it blesses the whole next month. The day of Shabbat in general blesses everything that comes after it. Blesses everything that comes. It elevates everything that's before it, and it blesses everything that comes after it. This Torah, this Shabbat is going to be Shabbat Mevorchim Shvat. This Shabbat is the last Shabbat in the month of Tevet, and it is the announcing the arrival of the next month, which is the month of Shvat. Now, the month of Shvat in Chabad is very important because that was the day that the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe passed away in 1950. And on that exact same date, the next year, the Rebbe took over. The Lubavitcher Rebbe took over, being the 7th Rebbe of Chabad. This is, of course, very important to Chabad, but on the other hand, that's not the end of the story. Chabad is very important to the world. Chabad is the only movement that accurately and genuinely is trying to bring the future redemption. The future redemption. Chabad is devoted totally to bringing the Moshiach, the real Moshiach, and to inform the world that Moshiach is very close, and also to inform the people that have the wrong idea of what Moshiach is and the improper idea of Moshiach, or no idea of what Moshiach is, what it is, and how important it is. How important it is. And just like Moses took the Jewish people out of Egypt, without Moses, there would not be any going out of Egypt, and Jewish people would have not received the Torah. And the Torah is basically the basis of all valid value systems in the world. The Torah. What is good and what is bad. You know, where did you get this idea of killing is bad and stealing is bad? And because God says it, as long as you come to the ideas on your own, so you get like the Nazis did, right? The most civilized and cultured and advanced nation in the world, especially in philosophy. They had all these philosophical, books about ethics and what is good and what is bad, and the what do they call it? I can't remember what Kant said. What was it called? It was called the ultimate criterion. Anyway, figuring out what is good and what is bad, and you can figure it out without God. And you don't need God. And so we see what the results were, right? You see what the results. The whole last generation was just a huge bloodbath. Everybody's just killing and murdering everybody with all sorts of weapons of destruction. But if you go according to the way the Torah says, as then the world will be a different world. Okay, so that's the Chabad is the only one that is really stressing this idea of Mashiach and bringing the whole world to do the 7 Noahide commandments and etc. And that's the Chabad. And the leader of Chabad is the Mashiach of every generation. He is the Mashiach. The Rebbe said it a lot of times. And the Rebbe said many, many, many times that the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, here's a picture of the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, I think we've seen a lot, right? There we go. He is the Mashiach. The Rebbe said clearly that he is definitely the Mashiach. He's the man that's going to bring the whole world to reveal its ultimate potential for good. Every human being. So that's pretty important. I mean, you can't get anything more important than that. Right now, you got the whole world going crazy with this, what is it, the vaccines, and then this is going to cure the world's problems. The world has only one problem, and that is this COVID, this disease, whatever it is, Corona, and they have one solution, and the solution is the vaccine, and we must force everyone to take the vaccines. And there's actually huge nations that are falling for it. They're forcing everybody, children. And of course, the whole thing is a tremendous lie, and it just makes everything worse. Everything is kind of worse. All these countries are now red. So they have now, there's a new strain that they got another shot. And so the whole thing is a lie. But the whole thing is based on a basically true idea that there is one solution for all of the problems of the world. But it doesn't come from the outside, but it is something you have to put under your skin 100%. And that's the idea of loving God and fearing God and believing in God. And that's what the Moshiach is going to bring to everybody. That's going to be the vaccine that's going to cure all the world's problems. Nobody ever thought there was going to be such a thing like that. They were going to force on the whole world a solution to their problems. Everyone's going to be forced to to take this solution, right? Solution, dilution, emulsion, whatever it is, to take this, the answer to all the world's problems. There it is, right? And we're going to force you to take it. You don't know what's good for you. We do. Well, the fact is that that's exactly what Moshiach is. But Moshiach will be a little bit different because, first of all, everybody has to choose themselves, and everybody will choose themselves. But it's not necessarily a thing you're going to have to force anybody to do. Okay. Shabbos Parshas Va'era Kovches Mavurchim Shabbos Shvat. Okay, we're talking about this week's Torah portion. Here we go. B'techilas Parshatenu, in the beginning of our Torah portion. 1 second. Here we go. In the beginning of our Torah portion, Va'era al Avram, the God said, I appeared to Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov in this name, El Shaddai. See, the Rebbe doesn't write it. Because if you print it out, you shouldn't destroy his name. So, nevertheless, some people say Kael Shakai. Okay, we'll say it's the pasuk in the Torah. Shmi Adonai, but the name Yud Kei Vav Kei Lo Natati Lem, I did not make known to them. And therefore, Amor Levin Israel, God continues. Therefore, go and tell the Jewish people that I am God. Says the Rebbe, we have to understand. Regarding these. That to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob was revealed God, Yud Kei Vav Kei, Hashem, but he was not revealed in the name Yud Kei Vav Kei, in this essence name of God. He was only revealed in the name, this name El Shaddai, not in the essence name of God. But even in Israel, but to the Jewish people now, Moses says, here it is. Now you are going to get what the fathers did not get. You're going to get this name, Yud Kei Vav Kei. Therefore, now it's going to be understood why it says Lochen. What does it say? God says, I appeared to Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, and my name, Yud Kei Vav Kei, I did not let known to them. Lochen, therefore, say to the Jewish people, I am God. What does it mean, therefore? Therefore, God is saying that I didn't, up to now, I have never appeared to anybody, not even to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, in my essence name, in my essence aspect, called Yud Kei Vav Kei, the name of God. Because according to God's names, that's God's aspects, what he does. So it says, now I'm appearing to you in this name, Yud Kei Vav Kei. Therefore, this is a Mesuvah, this is the result and the Totsa'ah and the outcome from what it said before, namely, that you should say to the Jewish people that I am God. Why should you say? Because I appeared to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and El Shaddai. And the name Yud Kei Vav Kei I did not know to them. Therefore, you should tell the Jews that I am Yud Kei Vav Kei. It seems that this is exactly the opposite of what it said before. Tochen HaKatuvim Etzel Bnei Yisrael. Haya Inyan Chadash. The Jewish people was something new. Yadatem Kini Hashem. I am Yud Kei Vav Kei. That it wasn't by Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Meshemim Yud Kei Vav Kei. I did not know to them. Right. So it doesn't. It's like saying your forefathers were all poor. Right. Your fathers, they didn't have any money, and therefore I'm giving you an inheritance of theirs, $5 billion each person. What does that mean? I mean, if you told me that my fathers, right, my father, my grandfather were total paupers. They lived in the street. They didn't have anything. They lived in the streets. And now, one second. What does it say? It says, Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, God says, I did not give them my name, Yud Kei Vav Kei. and they're your fathers. Therefore, I'm giving it to you. That's like saying your parents were total paupers. They didn't have anything. Therefore, I'm giving you their inheritance, $5 billion. You said that they didn't have it. How are you giving it to me? The same thing here. You're saying the forefathers did not get this name, Yud Kei Vav Kei. Therefore, I'm giving it to you. If the fathers didn't have it, how can I have it? So it doesn't seem to make any sense, this word lochen, therefore. Question number 2. Yoter mizu, even more, tochen a parsha, the whole Torah portion is talking about the highness of the Jewish people. That the Jewish people that will be revealed to them the name Yud Kei Vav Kei, this essence aspect of God. Shalom Nitkala, that it was not revealed to the forefathers. The Ilu Shema Parsha, but the name of the Torah portion is Vo'era, and I appeared. This refers to what? Revelation, to how I appeared to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Namely, that the Torah portion that it's talking about what? Revelation to the Jewish people is revealing something new that was not by the forefathers. Why is the whole Torah portion called on the revelation that was to the forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? The whole stress here is talking about the Jewish people. Moses is coming to the Jewish people and saying, okay, you're going to get something that the forefathers did not have. You have suffered enough. You are now going to get the revelation of Yud Kei Vav Kei, because they are your forefathers and they are inheriting this to you. You just finished telling me that they didn't inherit it. They didn't even have it. How can they give it to us? Even more, the whole Torah portion starts off with the name Vo'era, that I appeared to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And then the whole rest of the Torah portion doesn't talk about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob at all. It talks about the Jewish people and how high the Jewish people are, and the Jewish people are receiving this big revelation, infinitely greater than their forefathers were. So why is the whole Torah portion called Vo'era, that God said, I appeared to the forefathers? Right. Near Lomar, it seems that we can say Shekiv and Shinikra Avot, because Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are called the fathers. Kamudgash Perish Rashi, like what Rashi says, Va'era Ela Avot, I appeared to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The Avot, that the forefathers, Hein Lamayla Mi'abanim, they are higher somehow or other than the Jewish people. They are higher somehow or other than even the source of the Jewish people. The fathers, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, they are the source of the Jewish people. In other words, the Jewish people come from them. Yesh Bayam, they have a special quality, even higher than Avraham, Yitzchak, than the children, than the Jews do. Even though that the Jewish people get revealed this name of Yud Kei Vav Kei, and the forefathers did not have it, but nevertheless, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they had something special that we don't have. Totally not. And we never will have. Let's see. Yoter mizu, even more. Shamal at Avot, that the whole quality of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, this is even higher than Moses. And on Moses, God said, he said to Moses, Ani Hashem, I am God. Al Yadon, by means of Moses, there's the revelation of the name of God to all the Jewish people. That was happening at Mount Sinai, right? God revealed himself at Mount Sinai. They didn't just get a book. Moses went up to heaven and he came down and said, you'll never believe what I did up there. I got this book for you. Listen, everybody. Everybody would go crazy. Of course they would believe. What's the question? All the other religions in the world are based on one person that came along and he said, here, I'll do some miracle. I'll heal somebody. I'll raise the dead. And that's it. He says, Moses, what are you talking about? He took 3 million people out of Egypt. The 3 million people that got out of Egypt. And he gave them bread from heaven and water from rock. Nobody ever did miracles like that. Moses did. If Moses just went up on Mount Sinai and nothing happened and he came down, they would believe anything. Of course they'd believe him. What's the question? They saw that Moses, he split the sea for them. They would believe it. No. At Mount Sinai, there was a revelation of God himself to all of the Jewish people by means of Moses. Nevertheless, Abraham and Isaac and Jacob were somehow or other higher than Moses was. Like it explains in Rashi, that God said to Moses, Chaval al da'avden below mishtachim. Moses, and how did you end last week's Torah portion? That you had questions with me. You said, why are you doing bad to the Jewish people? Why did you even send me? You questioned me, God, Moses. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, I gave them many more frustrations than you had, and they didn't question me. God said, I'm regretting, I'm mourning for the loss of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Many times I revealed to them in this lower name of El Shaddai, and they didn't ask me, what is your real name? And you said, what is your real name, God? What's your name? The Avos never had any doubts about what I did to them. And I put them through the ringer. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they had so many disappointments, so many terrible things happened to them, and they never doubted me at all. But Atan, you, Amarta Lama Ariosa, you said, why are you doing bad to the Jewish people? To the degree for Avos that I appeared to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, this is the cause. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are so much higher than you are that this is the cause that there would be a revelation to the Jewish people, all the Jewish people later, of this higher name of God. Like it says, a father can give power to his son, so his son is even better than the father. That what Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob did, that gave power to us. Like it says, that God appeared to Abraham. Therefore, because God said, I appeared to Abraham in a lower name, therefore say to the Jewish people, I am God. We're going to explain it. You have to remember a very basic thing also with the fathers of Judaism. They didn't see any results. They did not see the results of their work. They did not see the manifestation of God's promise to them. God promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you're going to have children like the stars of the sky, like the sand on the sea, like the dirt on the earth, and you're going to get the land of Canaan. Abraham didn't get it. Yitzchak didn't get it. Yaakov didn't get it. Yosef didn't get it. Even Moses didn't get it. To see the land of Israel, to see the children like the stars of the sky, unless you interpret it into a different way, that it means the stars in the sky, that they illuminate the night for everybody in the world. But the simple meaning, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob did not see it. They did not see it. All they saw was troubles. It says the only one that didn't see troubles was the last 17 years of Yaakov's life when he was in Egypt, when he was together with his children, and they lived in the land of Goshen, and they were successful. But even then, it wasn't what God promised him. God didn't promise him you're going to sit good and outside of Israel. God promised him the land of Israel. God promised him he's going to see a Yaakov. How many children did Yaakov see in his lifetime? Not like the number that left Egypt. Didn't see it. And those that left Egypt are not like the number of the stars of the sky. So and nevertheless, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they never asked any questions about God. And because of their total self-sacrifice, as therefore the children after them received this tremendous reward of the essence of God's name. Let's talk about this. Here we go. Mavur Bedrushi Hasidus is explained in the writings of Hasidut, Shegilu Shem Avai, that this revelation of the name Yud Kei Vav Kei, Shema Etzem, the essence name of God, Shema Maforish is called the explicit name of God, Shema Miuchad, the unique name of God. This is the level of godliness which is totally above even the spiritual worlds. This was at Matan Torah, when the Jews got the Torah. Okay, and therefore, Eitzel Avos by Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, shall you leave name Matan Torah, that they were before the giving of the Torah, right? They were before the giving of the Torah. How much? What, 400 years before the giving of the Torah, 300 years. Nemar, it says, for Era El Shaddai, I appeared to God, I appeared to them in the name El Shaddai. Dargat Elokut, the level of godliness that was relevant to the world. They were before Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but they were before the Torah. When God gave the Torah, then he revealed this essence name of God. Before it, he revealed it to Moses a little bit. But Shmi Hashem, the name Yud Kei Vav Kei, I did not make known. Eitzel Bnei Yisrael, by the Jewish people, that they merited to the giving of the Torah after leaving Egypt, was revealed this name Yud Kei Vav Kei. Kei Hemshech HaKatuv, like it says, Amor Bnei Yisrael, Ani Hashem, say to the Jewish people, I am God. And I will take you out of the pain and the difficulty of Egypt. I will take to you me, etc. All the Jewish people that were going to merit to the name Yud Kei Vav Kei, as God said, that's the name that's going to take you out of Egypt. That's a preparation for receiving the Torah. Behold, Av Sha'avos, even though that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they were before the giving of the Torah. Hare Nosav Lakach, in addition to this, Shekeyam Avram Avinu, that Abraham, it says, did the whole Torah before it was given. Spiritually, he knew what the Torah was, because the Torah is eternal. The Torah was before the world. And Abraham was so pure and so devoted to the Creator, and so much he wanted to serve the Creator, that he came on his own, with God's help, to all of the commandments of the Torah in a spiritual way. It's known that by means of Avram was the preparation for the giving of the Torah. Like it says, when God gave Abraham the circumcision, that's when he changed Abraham's name also. This was like it was like one of the commandments that's after the giving of the Torah. That by means of this, a physical thing became holy. With the mitzvah that you do the commandment with. Like it says, when Abraham made his servant, he sent Eliezer, his servant, to find a wife for Yitzchak, Abraham's son. So he said, Eliezer, I want you to swear that you'll do your best and you'll do everything that I told you. He said, okay. He said, okay, swear on the Bible. Eliezer said, what is that? What does that mean? What's the Torah? You know, the Torah. What does the Torah mean? Everyone said, oh yeah, I forgot. Well, the Torah has not been given yet. This is only given a few more 100 years. There's only one thing in the world that has the holiness of the Torah, that God told us directly what to do. What was the Torah? God told the Jews what to do. There's only one thing that God told the Jews what to do in the time of Abraham. What is it? That God spoke to Abraham and said, circumcise yourself. That was the only thing. That was the only commandment. That was the only thing that was similar to the giving of the Torah, was by Abraham, the circumcision. That's why he said to Eliezer, put your hand on the place of my circumcision. That's the commandment. That's the only commandment that there is. Because a person that swears, takes an oath, has to take some sort of a commandment in his hand, something holy. And therefore, that was what was renewed in Mount Sinai, that drawing godliness down in the world, this made everything holy, potentially. This joined the upper worlds with the lower worlds. Like it said in the Midrash, that in Mount Sinai, there was negated the division between the heavens and the earth. In the beginning, it said that the heavens stayed up in the heavens and the earth came down to the earth. You want to be a spiritual person, you got to raise yourself up. God brought it down into the world. The spiritual came down into the physical world. Now you want to be spiritual, you do a commandment. Also, you have to meditate and contemplate and all these things, but you don't have to do that. You want to become spiritual, you put on a pair of tefillin. If you're a Jew, you're automatically holy. It says the lowest things became the highest, and the highest came down to the lowest. That became, what was the beginning of this connection between the upper worlds and the lower worlds, that the upper highest levels of God came into the physical world? That was the circumcision of Abraham. So if so, we see that Abraham started the Torah. Even though this joining of the upper worlds and the lower worlds, which happened, that began with Bris Milah, this was only one particular limb of the body of Abraham. And this one particular limb became a vessel for godliness. That's why the Jewish people make the circumcision in that place. That it can potentially do the highest commandment of all that God wants, make another Jew. Yesh Lomar, we can say, this is also relevant to what it does in the world, in this physical world. But Prati and Yonim, the Shavua, ben Nechitas Chayfetz, the Milah. That's why they had when Eliezer, and afterwards, when they made an oath, the oath before Matan Torah, it would be on this place of the circumcision. The Kesher, the Shidduch, because this was in relation to the marrying of Yitzchak and Rivka. That marrying of Yitzchak and Rivka, if you remember, we learned before, this is the spiritual level of uniting the names of God, Ma and Ban. Ma is what's called the one way of spelling God's name, which comes out to the numerical value of 45, and another way of spelling God's name, which comes out to the numerical value of 52. And this is the whole idea of the whole service of doing Torah and the commandments. That by means of this, you can draw down holiness in the physical world. So that was the whole idea of the circumcision that Abraham made. It began to connect the spiritual with the physical. It began to connect the creator with his creation. It began to make this physical world holy, spiritual, higher than even the spiritual, godly. That's represented by these two names of Ma and Ban. That was the marriage of Yitzchak and Rivka, which was brought about by Eliezer, the servant of Abraham, making this oath by Abraham's circumcision. And by means of Eliezer, the servant of Abraham, and that it says, Omerlo Avram said, B'ni Baruch v'ata arur, my son is blessed and you are not. Ve'en arur medabek b'boruch, you are not blessed, my son is blessed. An not unblessed can't marry a blessed. Nevertheless, the shidduch of Yitzchak and Rivka was made by Eliezer. That Eliezer, even though that he was not blessed, he was not a Jew, he was not father, but nevertheless, he was the one who brought about this connection between Rivka and Yitzchak, the marriage and the continuation of the Jewish people, transforming darkness to light, bitterness to sweet. That Abraham also took Eliezer, that he was a Gentile, he was not part of the Jewish people, and he transformed him to be a connected to Abraham, and in fact, to bring about the highest unifications that could possibly be. By means of him, there was the joining of the upper worlds and the lower worlds, by means of Eliezer. Since Ve'eral Avram, that the God appeared to Abraham in this lower name of God, El Shaddai. This was revelation. When did God appear to Abraham in El Shaddai? This is relevant to the commandment of circumcision. In this portion of when Abraham got circumcised, it says, Ani El Shaddai. It says, I am God. He said, my name is El Shaddai. That's God's name that he said. Go in front of me and be Tamim, it says. Shabo Yitchil Inyan the Matan Torah. This really began the whole thing of the giving of the Torah. Therefore, we have to say, Shenichlal Bazeh, that this is also included the name Yudke Vavke in Matan Torah. So what do we see? The Rebbe is trying to express, the Rebbe started off with a question. The question is that the Torah portion, the beginning message, seemingly says that the Jewish people, as they were in Egypt about to get out, were of a higher level than Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Because Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they did not merit to this essence revelation of God, which is signified by the name Yudke Vavke. They didn't merit it. They only got a lower name of God, which is called El Shaddai. So the Jewish people were higher than the forefathers, which that's okay. And a child is higher than his father. Can be. The parents are proud to see their children succeeding in a place and being better and etc. than the parents. Right? The children, they're happy. So the children are better. Says the Rebbe, okay, the children are better. But why make such a big stress on call the whole name of this Torah portion on Vo'era, that I appeared to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, on this lower name? That's the whole name of the Torah portion. Talk about the good things that God appeared to the Jewish people. That's the highest thing, right? So the Rebbe says, okay, let's understand exactly who Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob were, and why they're the fathers of the Jewish people. Let's start off first of all with Abraham. Abraham was the first to have a circumcision. The circumcision was godliness, pure godliness revealed in the lowest physical aspects of the world. That opened up the door. This cracked the barrier between the heavens and the earth, this circumcision. And that is what brought about the highness of the children. When the Torah was given, there was a revelation of God's essence name. And this whole going out of Egypt was a preparation for getting the Torah. And who was it that brought about making it possible that the Torah could be given? And like we said before, what was the Torah? Revelation of God. God personally revealed himself to 3 million people and gave them the commandments. who began this insane thing that it could actually happen? This was began by Abraham, especially in the circumcision. Despite the fact that he had a lower aspect of God revealed to him, he was the one that began it. So therefore, there's something special inherent in what the previous generations did, that even though they might be lower, but in some ways it's much, much higher because they inherited this opening to us, each one of us, and eventually to the whole entire world. That's why these ideas are so important, because we are talking about bringing a qualitative change to the whole entire world. And because of that, it'll be a quantitative change also. There'll be more food, there'll be more plenty, there'll be more love. As we'll talk about more, God willing, tomorrow. Now let's learn the Yom Yom for today. My father proclaimed one time at a Hasidic gathering, just as wearing tefillin every day is a commandment of the Torah to every single Jewish man, regardless whether he is deeply learned or he is simple, every Jew has to put on tefillin. So it is an absolute duty, for an obligation for every person to spend a half an hour every day thinking about Torah education of children, to do everything in his power, and even more than his power, to inspire children to follow the path along which they are guided. In other words, they should have good teachers, and that the children should do what they're taught, should follow the lessons and the ideas of the Torah that they're being taught by their teachers. This is a thing which should be in the minds of every Jew. How can I give my children the best education and direction and guidance to be a good Jew? Have a good day with Moshiach. Now, God willing, 3:00, we will meet again with the Chumash portion of this week, Parshas Va'era. Have a good day. Shalom u'bracha. Shalom, everyone.
Good day, Rabbi.